I'm Tarot Oracle, and this is the Waterfall Tarot. So what I did was I got the first 50 cards and I made a prototype deck. So in case you're wondering how they look, if we lay out 4 cards, that's how they look when laid out. So there is your back design. So let's go over what we got and see if we're pleased or not with it. Ooh, I love the sun. The sun really delivers. The sun delivers what I wanted it to deliver, which was leaping out that feel of ecstasy almost, where you're just excited, everything's going great. It really, really shines onto the rest of the spread. So yeah, I think it delivers what I wanted. Temperance, the flames and the ice combination, I think really looks pretty good. Probably want to bring down that a little bit. That draws my eye almost immediately. So maybe I need to desaturate that a little bit. The clouds, the background, the water, I think that does what I wanted it to do. The rocks look really good now that I see this printed. So this is a little less vibrant than the actual deck is going to be. So the color contrast is going to be boosted a little bit on the actual deck. The Empress delivers what I wanted. The Empress delivers where I wanted to go. I think that the folds look okay. I like the background. I like sort of the creepy clouds. And the waterfall photoshopped in an actual waterfall. So I think that delivers as well. The only problem is the heart. I think should not look like that. I need to adjust that. I need to adjust the heart. So mental note on that. The Wheel of Fortune delivers. That delivers what I wanted it to deliver. There's some Photoshop clouds over this dude's arm that needs to get fixed. But the in and out of the clouds amongst the figures, I think does what I wanted that to do as well. Queen of Pentacles is kind of upsetting because I spent a lot of time on the outer foliage on the border, and the trim just cut all of it off. So that sliced all of it off pretty hardcore. You don't really see the rabbit and the squirrel either. They don't really pop. I'm not sure what to do with that. But I do like the flowers. I think the flowers really make the day. The flowers really do make it. I mean, that draws my eye. It has a pleasing look to it, and it doesn't conflict. It doesn't conflict with other stuff. Now, I brought down the face a little too much. So the face in the background and the hair is bothering me. The face in the background needs to be a little more prominent. So I brought it down a little too much, but I'm going to bring it back up. I think it looks pretty good. Well, the King of Pentacles, the gold here really draws my eye, and I like it. I think that looked realistic for a couple of seconds, obviously before you focus on it. But yeah, I like the subtlety of the crocodile and him stepping on the crocodile. I like the shadows in the folds of the fabric. This was originally black with green on black. And obviously I changed it to white, and I think that was the right choice. I was very, very nervous about doing that too. And I think I made the right choice. That looks good. I hated every minute of this card. Every minute of this card, I hated all of it. But the final result now, looking at it, very, very pleased with how that looks. There's obviously a glitch here that I fixed with Judgment since I sent this in on the hair. The Jack-in-the-Box, the mountains, everything really is pretty pleasing to me. They do look like they just get out of that grave. The people look like they came out of a grave. I mean, like legit. The flag looks great. The trumpet looks fantastic. I like it. I really like it. I think the clouds bring a weird aspect to it. Those mountains really sort of round it out. And the Jack-in-the-Box is sort of takes you by surprise. So I like the Rebirth Judgment card. All right, now I spent a lot of time on the Seven of Swords, so I knew it was going to look good, and it does. This looks like, I mean, this looks legit. So, yeah, I spent a lot of time on this. So you can tell I spent a lot of time. I like the shadows underneath there. I think the swords could use a bit more dark on the outline, but it gives it this weird feel. The whole deck has a weird feel to it. And the Emperor really hits the spot. This really hits the spot. The Emperor wins the internet. He wins the internet. Those mountains back there look really weird. And just the majestic. And I know all of you were upset that he looked a little beta. So I made him a little more alpha. He looked a little more alpha. I mean, that was my priority. I listen. You complain, I listen. I do. And I like the dog. The dog brings an extra aspect of it. Someone said there was some white between the dog and the shadow. So I fixed that. Now the dog looks like he's actually laying there. But yeah, that's a good card. Magician, pretty standard. I worked pretty hard on that foliage as well, and it just got chopped. That got sliced. But yeah, I sort of winged a lot of this. Throughout this, the whites aren't very white. In some aspects. So, but the shading on the cup and the pentacle, the wand everything looks legit. This looks legit. And the sort of the weird greenish of the belt is not as green as I thought it would be. But this is not as saturated as your final version will look, so no problem though. The Fool really hits the mark. It's pretty standard Fool, but it hits the mark that I wanted to go for. And yeah, that chariot that wins the internet, that looks legit. From the bright stars on here to the bright stars on the helmet to my reimagining of the outfit and my reimagining of what these characters should look like. That hits the mark. That blue just draws me in, and that red just sort of has that soothing feeling to it. It really does. I like that. And the Knight of Pentacles, that's very nice. That really came out well. I would like to see a little more border around the pentacle, but I mean, this is not something I'm just going to obsess over. You could tell, again, it's really dark, and it's going to be a little bit brighter in the actual one. So, yeah, I didn't get the deluxe version. I just wanted to see what these look like. I wanted to see if I was happy with them. I wanted to see what functional changes I wanted on any of these. Justice does, that purple draws my eye immediately. I may bring it down a notch. I know a lot of you complained about the sword blending into the pillar, and I'm aware of that. But that's sort of intentional. Yeah, the robe and the red-green, the shading on it, it's where I want it. That's really where I want it. And I like the shading at the bottom as well. The Hanged Man is really the surprise of the deck for me. They chop the crap out of those mice. You can barely see the mice. Ooh, that's a problem. I may have to move the whole thing down some. The mice are an important part. The mice are critical to me. I like the greenery, and I love the overall card and the weird feel of the sky. And the Ace of Cups wins the internet. That is where I wanted it to be. Bit dark. It's a bit dark. But again, the whites are going to be boosted in the final version. Okay, yeah, the Ten of Cups. That's what I wanted. When I imagined the Ten of Cups, I was reimagining it. And I took out the pavement that they had right here, and I put in grass. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad that I did put in that grass. I'm glad that I redid the colors up here instead of having the blue in there, because I think the blue sort of competed with the sky. And I love the weird feel to it, but it's a nice feel. Of course, he's got, his hand on her ass, that you got to do that sometimes. To show your support for the wife. All right. The Eight of Cups has a very depressing feel to it, and the tarantula doesn't help. And this is where I wanted this to be. So the green, gooey feel of those mountains, the sort of the dark, dark blue, almost into black, is really where I wanted. And that weird, eerie glow right here, that weird, eerie glow right here is exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted with this. Okay, Seven of Cups. I asked all of you, should I make the cups more prominent or not? Should I put them in? And they do look a bit dark, but again, this is a bit shade dark of what you're going to get, but that looks really weird. That looks like this something weird is going on, which is what I wanted, And the masks really work on this card. This card works. This card works. It has an eerie feel to it. It has a depressing feel to it. And I'm glad that I let this be faded on there. And the stained glass looks legit. Look, the whole thing looks legit. Ace of Wands. I may redo that to have a realistic hand. I'm not sure, but as is, I'm pretty pleased with it. As is, it's got the zombie hand, but that's how it's supposed to look. Strength is nice looking until you realize that this should be white. And again, I need to make sure that when you get these, that white is a bit bumped up. But overall, I like the lion. I like the background. I like everything about that card. And the Ace of Swords, it does what I wanted it to do. The chop is pretty severe, though. I mean, the crown is barely on the card. This is not, I mean, the chop is pretty severe. More severe than I thought it would be. Ten of Wands wins the internet. I love the weird feel to the ground close by. It's not that pavement, and you can't really see the bird crap on him until you start looking for it. But that is exactly what I wanted. That's what I wanted on that card. Ditto with the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups, that came out very well. I know somebody, I think somebody asked for their name in there, and your name's not in there. Sorry, it's a prototype. This is what I wanted. This is where I want it. I'm very pleased with that card. And the King of Cups has a very peculiar, unusual feel to it, and I like it. I like it a lot. It has such a weird feel to the whole card, and it looks great. High Priestess, I spent an absorbent amount of time on this, and man, I'm glad I did. That wins it. This wins it. This wins it. That looks fantastic. That looks fantastic. That's fantastic. That's amazing. Same with Death. I spent a lot of time on that. I removed the priest that was stopping Death from rolling over the kids, and now it gives it this tension. Now it has this tension. Like the one kid is praying, please don't do whatever. The other kid is just like, no, I don't want to watch. And that eerie feel to the background and the sky, the blood red in the sky, that does it for me. That does it. That looks really good. The horse is obviously not as white as I'd want, but again, the whites will be boosted in the final. And the Ace of Pentacles is stunning. That looks exactly like I wanted it to look. That looks exactly like I wanted it to look. The Ten of Swords. That weird, creepy feel with the vulture, like waiting for them to die so he can eat them. That gives it this tension that I don't think exists in most other Ten of Swords. Nine of Pentacles came out exactly like I wanted. This looks exactly like I wanted it to look. Could I make the Pentacles more prominent? Yes, I'm not gonna. This looks exactly like I wanted it to look. That looks... And the Seven of Pentacles, ditto. Ditto. The squirrel or the groundhog is there. It's got the Caddyshack feel. And that the foliage looks fantastic. This really looks pretty good. It could use more pop. but I don't know. It could use more pop, but again, the colors are a little bit desaturated in this. Six of Cups is everything that I wanted in a Six of Cups. If I were to design a Six of Cups from scratch, it wouldn't look like this. But if I'm going with a Rider-Waite theme, that looks exactly like I want it to look. Three of Swords, I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with that Three of Swords. That really has that unusual feel, that weird, like what's happening feel, disappointment. The candies look very good. And the Tower, I hate the original painting. I hate it. I hate the original painting, but now that I see it printed, this hits the mark. This hits the mark that I wanted. Again, it's a little bit desaturated. That's okay. This hits the mark. That crown glows in the dark in your version when you get it. That's going to glow in the dark. The moon, oh, that's all midtones. Ooh, it needs some darks. It needs some more darks. I mean, it looks all right. It could use some more darks. That's a lot of midtones. It's my first reaction. And the Two of Pentacles hits, that wins the internet. That looks fantastic. I spent a lot of time on this one, and you can tell that really, you know, the seal, watching, sort of cheering them on. You can tell the seal's about to clap, you know? Yeah, that looks good. The faces are not bothering me. I thought they were. Okay, everybody complained about the star. All right, a lot of you complained about the star, didn't like it. Staring at it right now, that's pleasing to me. That looks nice. I like it. I like the star. I like the star. The Lovers, I think all of you like this one, and I love it. No pun intended. I think the clouds work. The mountain in the background really works. That really brings it together. I think the foliage being realistic really brings it together as well. And I think her hair being on fire really sort of... The Six of Swords has such a depressing, eerie feel to it. It's almost otherworldly feel to this card. And that's what I wanted. It looks depressing. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm very pleased. This is what I wanted to go with this. The Six of Swords in the original does not look depressing. It looks like some people on a journey. They don't look happy, but this looks like bad. And that's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. The Devil, I know a lot of you didn't like the Devil. Sorry, I'm sorry. I like the Devil. I think it's all right. The Hermit does what I wanted it to do. Does what I wanted it to do with the freezing aspect. The Queen of Wands, the cat wins the internet. The cat steals the show. The mountains in the background really bring this into an otherworldly feel as well. And that odd, weird throne is just so weird. It just draws your eye in and you just want to stare. And the ever so disappointing Four of Cups does what I wanted it to do. It has his outfit blends into the grass a bit too much. I think I need to put some shadow in there or something, but I like the light source is pretty prominent, and I like that light source sort of grazing alongside of him and shining the fourth cup on there. That in the tree foliage is not distracting, and it's not too much detail, and the tree texture looks fantastic. I like this card as well. So, okay, overall, from a perspective, obviously it's desaturated a little. It's desaturated a little bit. The whites need to be bumped. It will be in the final. But yeah, this is desaturated a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. This is a test print. I chose their cheapest option, and the actual print is going to be a little more vibrant. But overall, very pleased with how this looks. Let me know what you think about the Waterfall Tarot prototype. And thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.